This Guy's Garage. Like and subscribe.
The CBC is a public broadcaster that is given $1.2 billion from taxpayer money. And the CBC is failing. They are failing the Jewish community. They are failing the innocent whose lives have been lost. They are failing Canadians. There's a leaked memo from the Director of Journalistic Standards who instructed journalists to refrain from using the term terrorist in his reference or in their reference to Hamas fighters. Now, Hamas, as mentioned, has been listed on Canada's official list of terrorists for more than 20 years. And so this isn't a point for debate. This isn't a matter of opinion, but rather this is fact. And so to justify its decision, however, the CBC came out and said, well, we just don't want our journalists to take sides. And if they use the term terrorist, they will be taking a side. But to that, I would say, no doubt. Of course you're taking a side. You're taking a side against terrorists. What other side would you want to take? When you have 1,400 people who were massacred in an evening, when you have women and girls who are raped and then murdered and then paraded through the city, when you have 40 babies who are beheaded, whose side are you on? As if there would be some other side to take. Of course you should be against Hamas, which is a terrorist organization functioning in a sadistic manner. It is pure evil, and to suggest otherwise is alarming. And given that this is a public broadcaster that is held up by Canadian taxpayer dollars, it is incumbent upon this committee to hear from CBC leadership as to why this decision was made. Because Canadians deserve better. And so accountability is absolutely needed with regard to this matter. And if this committee was to take any other stance than that, I would have to question the motives of those at this table. Because we should all be advocating for justice. We should all be advocating for the story to be told as it stands, which is Hamas is in fact a terrorist organization acting against innocent people. And so I would ask this committee to give full consideration to the motion that is being moved today, and I will read it into the record just for further clarity. That given that Hamas has been a declared terrorist organization by the Government of Canada since 2002, and given the horrific Hamas terrorist attack against Israel left thousands of innocent people dead and injured, and given that an email directive sent from the Director of Journalistic Standards of CBC News, Mr. George Atchie, to all employees of CBC News directed them to downplay coverage of the horrific, sadistic violence perpetrated by Hamas against innocent people in Israel by not referring to the attackers as terrorists, and to falsely claim that Gaza continued to be under occupation after Israel had pulled out in 2005, the committee A, denounce Mr. Atchie's comments and report this to the House, B, summon the President of the CBC, Catherine Tate, to appear for 2 hours by herself within 7 days of the motion being adopted, C, invite the CBC Ombudsman, Mr. Jack Nagler, to appear for a minimum of 2 hours to address the CBC's position on journalistic standards and practices, and D, summon the CBC Director of Journalistic Standards, George Atchie. And so this is the motion that Conservatives are bringing forward for discussion today. We're hoping that the NDP and the Liberals will see the need for this, that a full discussion be had, and that an understanding be generated in terms of the CBC's demands that they placed on their journalists, and as to why they made that decision.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
When I look at my own social media, Chair, I'm appalled at how many times I deal with a lot of racist commentary. And I know that a lot of my colleagues across all parties are dealing with the same. This is a very, very polarizing issue. There's been a lot of information that has flooded our airways over the past week. There's been a lot of misinformation. There's been a lot of bullying, a lot of trying to suppress voices. And I think, as Canadians, we owe it to everyone within Canada to be able to speak their minds as long as they respect our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I think that the media has a very, very critical role to play in today's day and age, in not only ensuring that they are giving an objective and fair voice to what is happening in the Middle East and across the world as issues arise, but also to make sure that they're not politicizing or flaming any issues that create further harm and hurt to communities here in Canada. My writing, Mr. Chair, has 43 different languages that are spoken. We are a very, very diverse writing, and over these past 8 years, we ensure that in Mississauga, Erin Mills, we are building bridges, not breaking them, not dividing each other based on our political standpoints. And I think, first and foremost, as parliamentarians, we have an obligation to ensure that Canadians have the safety and security to be able to maintain themselves, their health, their sanity, and their safety within our communities. So when I see a motion here that wants to bring in a news publication before a committee to question them on whatever it is that they've been posting, I automatically have flags. I question whether it is our right as a committee to do that. The media are our watchdogs, and they will post and they will say what needs to be said. And we as Parliament, whether we agree with it or don't agree with it, should not have a say in what they're reporting on, because that defeats the purpose of media as watchdogs of our government and of parliamentarians. So, Mr. Chair, I think that we need to lower the temperature, not just here in Parliament, on this very, very sensitive issue with so many people that are hurt and hurting. I think that we need to take a breather and perhaps at a later time come back to this issue. So at this time, I move that we adjourn debate.
Just one sec, please. So a motion before the floor that will unfortunately interrupt the speaking list that I have to adjourn the debate. Clerk, could you please call the roll call on that? Just 1 second. Just hold on a second. Mr. McCauley, I'm going to ask that you. Just hold on. Rachel, could you step out, and Mr. McCauley is going to take your seat. Okay, yeah, thank you.
Mr.
All right.
McCauley.
Against.
Madame Saint-Clair-Desgagnés.
Pour.
For.
Mr. Desjardins.
Can you please reread the motion that the member put forward? I just missed
Mr.
the last part of
Desjardins,
it.
this is a motion to adjourn. It is not adjourn debate, which, yes. Adjourn debate, it's not on the motion itself.
I see. Is to adjourn the debate?
Correct.
I see. Based on, I think, my colleague from the Bloc Québécois position, which I agree, I vote in favor.
Mr. Blois.
I want the record to show that I wanted to say a few things.
Actually, okay, yeah, no, I appreciate that, but there's not an opportunity for statement. So you just, yeah, I'm afraid you have to vote.
I'll vote no. I actually want to say something. So no.
Ms. Bradford.
In favor.
Ms. Khalid.
In favor.
Ms. Shanahan.
In favor.
Ms. Yip.
Yes.
Yeas pour 6, nays contre 4, 4.
So the motion has passed.